So, you might think that I set something to make this loop, basically. So, like, the background itself does loop. It's a pattern. So if you put if you, like, tiled the backgrounds together, it would look smooth. Do you see what I mean by that? You can't see it, but do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would think that the way I got all this to work is just by, like, having it loop around a bunch, right? Because it's a patternable thing, and so you'd think I would just say, okay, go from here to here, and then just keep doing that, and it'll be fine. You'd think, right?
You would think. Yeah, one would think.
You would think. One would think. No, it's not that simple. It is possible to make a background move, but the way I had it working, for some reason, even though I set it to the right amount of pixels, it was not actually looping correctly. So what I did instead, like, it would basically, after each 3-second cycle, it would just cut to a different place. Like, cut back to the beginning, and I couldn't get it to match. So instead, what I did was, instead of making it loop, like, move 1,200 pixels in each direction, I made it move 99,999,999 pixels in each direction. And instead of making the animation take 3 seconds, I made it take 800,000 seconds. So basically, if you stay on our website's homepage for 6 days, you'll notice an error. But only once, so it's fine.
What's the website?
What's the website? Oh, it's not online yet. This is just hosted locally currently. Yeah,
when it's
it will
online,
be online.
Host a competition, and if somebody catches it on camera, they win a prize.
Wait, I kind of want to.
Oh man, is there a limit to how long you could set it?
So that's part of what I was worrying about. So this is another funny thing that happened. So like this is all in CSS, which is not really a language, but it pretends to be one. So it doesn't really have standards. That's what I mean. Like Latin. So yeah, like Latin. So like I was looking up what the biggest possible numbers in CSS are, because most languages have that. Like Java has a limit, like a maximum integer. Yeah. So with CSS, it doesn't seem to have one. It just seems like it's based on the browser you're using. And so most browsers seem to support pretty large CSS numbers, but apparently Opera only supports up to 32,767. Then so my decision is, if somebody's using Opera, they don't deserve to see the background image scroll. Anyway, that's what we came up with.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
The way you worded that. I was gonna tell you.
Glad.
I was like, dude, Opera. But
right?
You worded it so much better. They don't deserve to have a scrolling back. Oh god.
But, yeah. So then we were saying, we were talking about Opera, and one of the people in my group was saying, don't you have to pay to use Opera? I don't know if that's true. But anyway, I said, I know the Wii used an Opera-based browser. So if someone's using our app on a Wii, they've got a problem. So, like, honestly, I think, like, what I wonder is what the issue would be if it didn't support such a large number. Like, I wonder if the whole website would crash. Or if it's just, like, maybe the backgrounds wouldn't show up. I don't know. But I'm gonna find out. This is not done, but it currently works for Chrome, so that's all that matters. I love roundabout solutions, though. I don't know if my professor will like them. But that doesn't matter.
It's the Rube Goldberg of computer science. I love outside-the-box solutions to problems.
Yes, that's what I love, too.
Specifically, that you drown it in so much stuff that it becomes negligible. Like, those solutions are so satisfying.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's the interesting thing with computer science, is that, like, depending on which side of computer science you're on, you have an entirely different opinion about things like that. So, like, if you're a theoretical guy, you don't care at all, like, how fast a program actually is. Like, if this program takes, I don't know, 0.5 seconds on whatever computer, you care that if you scaled it to, like, an input of, like, a gigabyte, how long it would take. Or, like, an input of a terabyte or something. I don't know. Whereas people like me, who are not theoretical, I'm just, like, I just want to make things... I want to make things work. I don't care how long it takes, if it, like, in the long term, as long as it just works momentarily.
Like, this routinely comes up in MATLAB. The course is for engineers and scientists. Mm-hmm. So they're like, yeah, this is more efficient. It runs like 0.03 seconds faster, but who cares? You're an engineer.
Yes,
like,
exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like,
exactly.
I remember, you know, like, they always used to tell us, do not append things to strings. Like, instead use a string buffer. And this was, like, what we learned so much, because it's so much more efficient to use a string buffer. But, like, nowadays, there was literally an example in class where it was just, like, constantly appending all these things to strings. Like, that was the way you made an entire website. And it was like, yeah, it's slow, but it works. That was basically what the professor was saying.
It's like a Mario Kart track where you start, and in the beginning of the course, it's like, no, you can't do this. This is a shortcut. This demonstrates, like, your inability to understand the concept. And then you get away halfway around the track, and, like, now you're good at it, right? And then you start, like, being lazy again, and before you know it, you loop back around to the beginning, except it's completely okay now, because everybody knows you know it. You just decide not to do it. It's like...
Everybody... Yeah.
It's like, writing plus C for integrals, or like,
yes,
or writing dx for integrals. It's like, yes, it's a necessary step. Mathematically, it's necessary, but also we know what you're talking about. Like, shorthand, you could not write it. It's fine.
Oh yeah, for sure,
yeah.
For sure. Like, nobody's gonna see integral of 2x and be like, how do I know it's not with respect to y?
Are you familiar with the Ramanujan summation?
Which one is that?
1 plus 2 plus 3 to infinity is negative 1/12. Right. It's mathematically proven. With series.
I have seen the proofs, and I've seen many people on all of those proofs who say this is not right. So I think it's more debated than you're saying, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
That had nothing to do with the story. I don't know why I started with that. Shigun was we were talking about the Ramanujan summation. That's the only reason it's relevant.
Okay.
And he was like, I just recently learned, like, actually what's happening with the integral, and it's, like, really interesting. And he explained to me, like we had learned Riemann sums, right? Mm-hmm. But he said, what's the dx for in an integral? So I'm going to ask you the same question. What's the dx for?
It's for the little tiny width, right?
Yeah. So of course you would know that. And what would other people answer?
It's notation.
Or it tells you what variable you're integrating by.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. So, and then I'm like, you know how we always say like, it's, you need to put that in there. You can't, like, leave it out. And it's not because we're, like, being sticklers about notation. It's literally the width in the length times width equation.
Yeah.
That's like a summation of a bunch of those, which is a Riemann summation, which is the area under their curve. It's so cool. Like,
I do love that. Yeah. It's great.
It's just it's like really an area problem. Integrals are just area. Like,
they are.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Okay, so quick sidebar to just explain what I'm talking about here. An integral is the area under a curve. So for the example of this function x, the highlighted area right here going all the way to infinity is what I'm talking about when I say an integral. When I'm talking about a Riemann sum, I'm just talking about drawing a bunch of these rectangles like this, and the integral is approximately the sum of the area of those rectangles. That makes sense because the area of those rectangles is about the area under the curve. So the question remains, why do we need to have this dx? That's what I'm talking about with dg right now. Why is the dx not just notation? Well, what's really happening in an integral is we're doing the sum of a bunch of areas, like a Riemann sum. The length is the function x, and the width of each rectangle is the dx. And so that's why the dx is necessary. It's not just a notation thing, because the dx is the actual width. So what's going on here is you're literally doing an area problem, length times width. And the sum of all those areas is approximately the area under the curve, which is what we're solving for, the integral.
I love integrals, but I think derivatives are very cool as well. So I must ask you, where do you stand on the integral versus derivative debate? This is not much of a debate, but what's your preference?
The higher and higher levels of math I go up, and applications of math, the more integrals seem more important. I think integrals are the more powerful of the two. But
yeah,
I'll always be partial to derivatives.
Nice.
I had a really good pun the other day that I just, like, that one was off the top of my head. I didn't have a good pun the other day that was off the top of my head. It was I was making toast. And I'm not like, I don't care about the ends of bread. This was gluten-free bread, just so you know. But I had reached in the bag and I got the end. And I put the end in the toaster to cook. And my sister made a comment to me. She's like, oh, like, why'd you pick the end? I said, I like the ends. Like, the ends are fine. The ends, they justify the means. I didn't even, like, plan that out or think about it. It just came out of my mouth.
All right.
Like the ends. They justify the means.
That's good. This is quite Goodman. That is my son's name, Quite. Call me Logic, because I've mentioned my kids twice this call already. Do you ever think about kids, like your kids in the future?
Okay.
Like, how many kids do you want?
Okay. This is very interesting about me.
Okay.
I don't. And my friends, like, make fun of me for it. Whenever they bring it up, like, they talk about, like, or like futures about marriage or like families or whatever.
Yeah.
I always say I never think about that. Like, honestly. Not that I don't think it's going to happen. I'm like completely indifferent to it.
Oh,
like,
no, that's good to not obsess over it. I think that's better, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I very much know that my circumstances are so far out from there that I'm not even in a position to form an opinion.
I mean... Okay, sure. So you haven't thought about, like, how many kids you want or anything?
No, absolutely not. I haven't thought about marriage. I mean, I understand that for a lot of people, that's part of, like, their romantic fantasies. You know, when they picture themselves with somebody. That's not at all what happens for me. Like,
no?
Yeah.
What is it for you?
Like, the time that you have with somebody, like, before marriage. Like, I don't fantasize, like, settling down. That doesn't seem like an admirable goal to be.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I understand that for sure. I mean, like, I sure hope it's gonna happen someday, so I guess I sort of, like, fantasize, or not fantasize necessarily. No, I do to an extent, but I guess I just think about it more, you know? Because that's something I want. Yeah, I want kids, for sure.
Yeah, but... also, relatively, you're a lot closer to that than I am. So,
I wouldn't
think it's more apt.
Like, I mean, like, maybe closer in things that have been completed, but I wouldn't necessarily say closer in time. Like,
okay, well,
yeah,
technically, it can happen to either of us first. But
right.
What I mean is, right, if you went 10 years back and got Usain Bolt and, I don't know, some random dude, either of them could race 10 meters and win. But
10 years ago? You think Usain Bolt wasn't fast? But okay, sorry. I understand the analogy. Go ahead.
No, the point is that he is fast.
Right. But you
forget the 10 years ago thing. Forget the 10 years ago.
A while ago. Yeah.
Get Usain Bolt and a random dude. Technically, either of them could win the race. Usain Bolt could tear his Achilles when he gets off the start. You never know, right? But...
oh, okay.
that is not metaphorical in any sense. Just, either person can win the race, but it's way more likely that Usain Bolt will win the race because he has raced before.
So what you're saying is either one of us could get married first, but you'll only get married first if I tear my Achilles.
Yes.
Okay. But, like, okay, here's the thing.
DG's girlfriend.
I could get married. But
Yeah.
us being together now doesn't give us any significant advantage over you, except for the fact that it's currently happening. Like, you could still, if you met somebody and started a serious relationship a year from now, I don't think that means you would get married later.
But do you disagree that more relationship experience makes you better at relationships?
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah. That's my point.
Okay.
It has
So
nothing to
you're
do
saying-
with you being specifically with
DG's girlfriend.
It's just that you have relationship experience. She's your second girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, if it's her or if it's somebody later, you're less likely to f*** it up than I am. That's my
Okay,
point.
sure. Sure. Yeah. I say we fish 5 days and work 2.
I say a man is lost without sauce, but the same man could get lost in the sauce. That's Gucci
Wait.
Mane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a Gucci Mane quote.
That's great. Wait. I'm pulling up my conditional jokes document so I can add, I say we fish 5 days and work 2. This is a bumper sticker on this random guy's car in my neighborhood. And every time my dad and I walk past it, whatever we're talking about, whenever he doesn't say something and there's a silence, I just say, I say we fish 5 days and work 2.
What does that mean?
Well, like, instead of working 5 days and fishing 2 days, this guy says we fish 5 days and work 2. So, okay, here's my list of conditional jokes so far. Have you heard of whatever? And then I say, no, have you? And that one was from you, or it was with you that I came up with it. Yeah.
Wow,
And then,
I'm really proud I could be a part of that.
You said, have you heard of some movie or something? And I said, no, have you? We were at Princeton, I remember, leaving
Okay.
Whitney. Yeah. And then Happy Thanksgiving. I say, you're welcome.
That one was with me too. I remember that one.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And then I have a few. These can go at the start of any sentence. Oh, I need to add my other start of every sentence one because I have a new one. Table, new column, or new row. Start of sentence. So I like to start sentences now with, to quote my future self. And then you can also start any sentence with, I've got to be honest, or I really hate to say it. And
you can end I know what you're going to say next. You can end every sentence with no pun intended.
Yes, I have that one here. I also have the end of a proposition being take it or leave it. Whatever it is that you're proposing, you just say take it or leave it at the end. Will you marry me? Take it or leave it. And then when somebody says, do you know blank where blank is some TV show? My answer is, I've heard of it, but I've never been on it.
I love... These are all very DG answers. I love how you conditionally prepare them.
Yes. My goal is to memorize this, or to make this doc longer, first of all, and then memorize it so well that I can never, miss an opportunity.
It makes me think you plan out whole conversations at night. You're like, alright, I'm talking to Adam tomorrow. What if he mentions this? Like, type it up.
True. I'm just ahead. Yes, I'm only ahead. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
That's Rock, School of Rock. Right?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. Thank you. Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Can we playlist all of these?
Wait, is it on Spotify?
It better be. Whoa. You gotta
Wait,
throw that all that on your meme playlist.